Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to PSGL. The PCF1 League starts tomorrow, but it's time for the drivers to get their final bit of preparation here at Bahrain for the Esports Invitational. My name is Luke Etheridge, and joining me in the commentary box tonight is Joshua Davis. Josh, how are you doing?
Yeah, hello Luke, welcome back everyone to PSGL. It's quite an unreal experience, to be honest, with such an amazing grid we have in front of us. There's probably going to be some absolutely fantastic action on a Tuesday evening, so really looking forward to see what is happening tonight. Obviously Bahrain, we have today, I believe the season opener tomorrow is at Bahrain as well, so it gives a little bit of preparation for all these drivers to get going for F1 tomorrow, so hopefully they can get the best of starts this time around and really perfect it for tomorrow.
Yeah, it certainly is a great opportunity for, all these drivers to get a bit of practice in. Some drivers who might be reserving in F1 as well, maybe even racing in F2 when the sign-ups are finished for that. So obviously we'll be talking more about the different leagues if you want to get involved in PSGL later on. Just looking at the grid for tonight, running through some of the standout names that come out there. I think one name that definitely stands out to me straight away, Josh, Lucas Blakely, obviously did such a good job in esports last year, but even outside of him, it is a really stacked league. Esports drivers of past, esports drivers of present, and probably plenty of esports drivers of the future.
Yeah, definitely. So Lucas Blakely, probably the main standout this race. Obviously won it in season 30 last time around from that last to first. I think it was the only race he competed in last season. So he can definitely be the standout this race, definitely. Alongside as well, Jake Benham, definitely one to watch for the future. Currently at the Mercedes camp, I believe, from this race. So maybe a little bit of a hint of seasons to come, maybe even this season, we never know. But also partnered with Danny Moreno as well, definitely one that could definitely win this race as well. A lot of quick drivers. Wilson Hughes, as we said as well, Thomas Ronha, so many quick amazing names for F1 esports and in the future, and obviously from the past as well. So we're really looking forward to see what these guys can do, and it should be a really exciting few races we have tonight.
Yeah, definitely. It's not going to be the same as PCF1, which obviously works on a full qualifying. For tonight's race, it is only going to be the short qualifying and then a 29-lap race around the Bahrain International Circuit. All things should stay dry, I imagine, although you never know. We did see rain around Saudi Arabia in PCF1 last year. And drivers, they are going to have to approach things slightly differently, given the fact that it's not full qualifying, but also something which should make this game really interesting. It's a big difference to F1 2021 in terms of the regulations. Is we're not going to see that. We're not going to see that in Q2 where drivers are trying to get through on a set of the medium tyres, because you get a fresh set of tyres for the race. So that means, yes, we lose that strategical element in qualifying, but the drivers now have got no excuse not to go flat out all the way through.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's probably. I think there's been mixed mixed opinions of the new rule that's coming. Obviously, you don't have to go on the mediums if you want to start in Q2. That sort of rule. Can't really say how it is in words, but it's interesting though. I think, yeah, it does exist for some more action throughout the whole qualifying sessions. Definitely tries to push the drivers, but yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting how people play out. Obviously, people try and go for the soft start at the start of the race, or people go on the mediums. Obviously, with the new pit stops as well, obviously coming out of the pit lane, your tyres are pretty much stone cold, so the undercut might be the way to go this round. So I wonder if just everyone goes for the softs and then soft medium. I don't think we'll maybe see any medium softs this game, but we never know. We might see a few of the F1 esports teams sort of crack it along the way down. We are very early into the game, about a week I think we are into this game, so it's looking pretty interesting all the way through. But yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting how qualifying plays out. But yeah, as you said, no excuse for all these drivers to just go flat out in every session.
Yeah, definitely. Like we said, they're just going to go for it when it comes to the entire season. We won't be long before we are getting this race then on the way, this social race. We've gone through a few names that stand out tonight. Obviously, we mentioned Lucas and a few others. Fabrizio Donoso in there as well. We've got some sort of PSGL legends in there as well. Ash Best, someone who people who have been with us right from the start, I might remember, the top driver on the PlayStation platform. Just getting a bit of an opportunity to see how things are going to go for tonight. We'll very quickly get up what the sign-ups are going to look like throughout this season. So sign-ups are open already. The evaluations are out there. It is 2-time trials and a 50% raise. You've got just over a week if you do want to join PSGL. The sign-ups close on the 13th of July. You've got one extra day after that to complete your evaluations, and the placements will be revealed not long after that. Well, we're seeing PCF1 start tomorrow, but it is going to be just over a week before we actually see, well, just over 2 weeks, I should say, before we see the rest of the divisions starting. So not much time for the drivers to get ready, and that probably means, in terms of the racing we're going to see tonight, maybe a bit more chaotical to what we're used to. I know we saw in the Twitter chat that we've been in, a lot of the drivers still a bit unsure, not only on what strategy they're going to do, but also what setup they're going to use.
Yeah, definitely so. And as we said, as I said before, we are very, very new into this game. Only a week old is this game, so no one really knows the best setups. No one really knows how to sort of handle the car, really. So it's really much a really big steep in the water, you know. It's really an unknown, if you like, which probably does scare a few drivers just to know if they have the pace or not, because they don't really know how the setup's going to work and how everything works, you know. I wouldn't be surprised if a few people here do decide to go on preset setups. I think Jack West might have been joking when he said that preset 5 is the way to go, but we're never unsure about these things. So I do believe they are probably going to be mainly the F1 Esports drivers that do have those setups cracked on and ready to go just early on in the game. But we'll wait and see how it plans out. Definitely it's going to be interesting how everyone plays it out. Obviously, there are a few metas already starting to go out. Obviously at Monza, 0 wings seems to be the way to go. Bahrain, pretty lower wings as well, 15, 17 I think I've seen in a few times, but I'm not really sure. We're not really sure. Obviously the drivers will probably know a lot better than we are, so we'll have to wait and see how they play it out. But yeah, it's going to be interesting how they do.
Yeah, it is. Now, we're used to what a lot of the circuits are like. We've seen circuits with a few changes, but Bahrain has stayed pretty much the same, apart from their odd experiments that they've done in 2010 with the endurance circuit, and in 2020, of course, due to COVID, with the Bahrain Outer Oval circuit, as it was called. 15 corners and the 3 DRS zones. Probably one of the circuits on the calendar, I'd say, alongside Austria, where DRS is the most powerful.
Yeah, definitely. So there's a lot of DRS opportunities. Turn 1, you're definitely going to have a good go there, but obviously you got turn 4 as well on the back straight of turn 4, which things can get very, very tasty. Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg having that amazing duel in 2014, where that went on to pretty much almost ages, if you like. So there's going to be very, very interesting battles through the way. A lot of DRS trains you're probably going to be expecting, obviously with the 3 turn 1 into out of the exit of turn 4 and into sector 2 as well. So those are the 3 main things. I don't think you'll probably see many overtakes into sector 2. That's probably going to be a very, very ballsy move if you do go for it. But anyone is anything. Obviously, we've seen a few incidences in the past at Bahrain where people do get a little bit too excited and go for those moves down the inside. That probably is the wrong way to go. But when it gets maybe tenser in the race, lap 28, lap 29, we do maybe see those mistakes, moves maybe start to creep in. But I think early start, I think everyone will play it well, how they usually race. Just keep it calm, just keep position, don't really need to fight too early on. But yeah, we might see a few interesting moves, but it's all in the laws of league racing. In the honest, if you don't go for the moves, you don't get the reward.
Yeah, that's it. Sometimes, you know, you've got to sort of take them risks. We've got a lot of people asking in the chat, is Jarno here tonight? Unfortunately, no, he's not. We've got someone else asking, is Jake Benham here tonight? He is here. And we can go through some of the rest of the orders as well. Shouldn't be too long, folks, before we do get qualifying and the race on the way. It is Jake Benham and Danny Moreno racing for Mercedes tonight. In the Red Bull, it is going to be the pairing of Jack West and Sam McBride. Ferrari have got Fabrizio Dodoso and Ash Best. For McLaren, it is Lucas Blakely and Wilson Hughes. Alpine have Andrei Tarabukin and Ruben Pedreño. Antoine Tzalewski and Harvey Cohen are racing for Alpha Tauri. Aston Martin, Duncan Hoffland and Floris Reyes, the Dutch duo for them. Lewis Welch and Thomas Ronha are going to be racing for Williams. Iker Baena and Tomek Paradzic for Alfa Romeo. And for Haas, it is a pairing from Esports, Matthias Van Erven and Timon Shooter. So, a stats grid not long before we get this things underway. I mean, I'd say what can we expect from tonight, but from races I've commentated on so far on this game, from some of the races that we've seen, we know it's going to be fast. The consistency might not just be there yet, so keeping it nice and clean would definitely be a good way for these drivers to prepare ahead of tomorrow night.
Yeah, definitely. So I think it's probably going to be a sort of thing just to see how the strategy plays out, just mainly how it's all going to play out during the race. A lot of these guys are probably going to be racing in F1 tomorrow night, probably about, say, 90% of this grid. So definitely just to see how everything works, how the strategy works, keeping it calm, keeping it simple, and hopefully to come out of it alive. Obviously, it is a social race, so there are going to be people taking, obviously you have to take it seriously, but obviously it's not the end of the world if you do decide to crash out, or if you do have a little bit incidences. But we're about to get underway for qualifying, just about to start now. Into the short qualifying session. No action so far in this session, but it should creep in earlier on. But there is actually already garage, and that is Sam McBride, I believe, who's going to take the first venture out in the Red Bull.
Yeah, a few cars already starting to get ready up, so enough for seeing mine and Josh's faces. I'm sure what you've all come here for is some cars out on track. So here we go, people, heading out there. Drivers just making their way out of the pit lane, and yes, it is for 2 Red Bulls heading out there, and a few more started to go out as well. As we were expecting, none of this from previous games. Drivers going out on the mediums. Everyone who's going to set a lap will go out on the softs. I did see in previous races, though, there's still a few drivers liking to get that lap done on the intermediates, which is obviously just a way to get their setups sorted in terms of wheel, making sure they've not got any issues and making sure they're not wasting a set of tyres what they need for the race, especially around here where it is quite heavy on the tyres. Just imagine what this track would be like now if they raced in the daytime and not at night.
Yeah, oh my goodness me, the tyre rear will be absolutely through the roof. I think it's probably a good thing that we race under the night, and I'm probably going to say it's a little bit prettier at night, if I do say so myself. The floodlights look absolutely majestic. The night sky looks absolutely fantastic as well, and the cars look very, very menacing at night. And obviously it's nicer for the tyres, but even in the night, it's definitely very, very hard to get the tyres working to a good level. You've got to be aware of overheating. You've got to be aware at the tyre wear as well. Obviously, the nature of the track, we are at a desert, so the weather and the heat is definitely going to play a big scenario in that one. And the nature of the corners, they are very, very challenging corners, most of them with a lot of high-speed ones. So you're going to have to be very, very wary about that one. But it's definitely going to be interesting how it plays out. Everyone on soft compound tyres, and as you said, no one on the intermediates. Forest Fires about to come around the final corner to start the first qualifying lap of this session, and he's about to start the lap now.
Yeah, so Floris Baez, and former esports driver, of course, for Haas as recent as 2020, making his way down the kilometre-long straight here at the Bahrain International Circuit in towards turn number 1, braking at around the 100-metre point. You'll see staying in 4th gear. You use the lower 3 gears on PC, you are spinning right round, and there is nothing you can really do about it, even if you're a driver of this calibre. Heading now down towards turn number 4, braking hard towards there at the end of the second DRS zone, and this is where we see the endurance, the oval circuit battle off, and where we saw the fantastic battles coming down through turns number 5, 6 and 7 with Hamilton and Rosberg. Turn number 8, hairpin, is always a possibility to get a move down there if you are feeling brave enough. And now for one of the trickiest corners on the Formula 1 game, 9 and 10. So easy to lock up a tyre there. Floris doing so perfectly well to keep things nice and clean. The third DRS zone heading towards turn number 11. Not one where you see too many overtakes, unless there is a massive tyre delta, of course. And turn 12, always a corner that on previous games, if you hit that curb, you normally instantly spin around, and Floris quite wisely choosing to stay off of that, using a bit more at turn number 13. It's crucial you get a good run through there, and now you need to just light up the tyres, get the throttle down as far as possible, and concentrate on the braking zone for 14 and 15. 14's a proper corner, 15 you don't really bother about. Floris probably running a bit more on the curbs than what he would have really wanted, and a 127.728 for the Dutchman. A fairly clean lap there from Floris. Didn't look like he was maybe pushing to his extreme best, as we see Pedreño go about a quarter of a second faster, but he'll be fairly happy with how that time went.
Yeah, definitely so. Not a bad lap time there from Floris. Good banker time of a 27.7. Pedreño has beaten that time alongside Von Hart, West and McBride there. Pedreño with a 4, and there goes Wilson Hughes with a 27.330. So getting lower and lower in towards the 27s, and once we start getting the tyre wears up to temperature and everything up to temperature, we should be seeing those maybe into the mid 26s. We never know, but looking good so far for Hughes and Pedreño off the bat, alongside Ronhar as well. Very, very close in between the two, and about 2.5 seconds separate the top 3 there, so not bad at all. I believe one of the Alpha Tauris is that Harvey Cohen coming around the final corner. Yes, it is across the line for the Czech man, and he's gone slowest of all so far with a 28.480. So maybe a little bit more improvement there for Cohen as he comes round into turn 1. One of the Mercedes guys, the two Mercedes guys, that's Jake Benham actually just prepping his lap on the soft compound tires as well for Mercedes. But all in all, not a bad first start for a lot of these guys, with Hughes topping the timing sheet so far.
Yeah, Hughes top of the timing sheet so far. Jake Benham just getting onto his lap. I can confirm that Lewis Welsh somehow is still racing around on the pad in the Williams. Absolutely miraculous how he does it. I know we talk about Jarno Otmir being sort of the GOAT of esports in general, but Lewis Welsh certainly the pad goat, and I'm sure I wouldn't mind if Codemasters at F1, he gets a bit of a wobble on coming out of turn number 13, would let him use the pad more often. We're probably going to see a lot of those wobbles, to be honest, tonight. A lot of the drivers were talking about using time trial setups, and Josh, they can be outright faster than the normal setups, but really when it comes to consistency, they're not ideal.
Yeah, time trial setups are literally just made to go as fast as you can around the track. Very, very unstable at times, so maybe not the wisest thing, but I think probably for a lot of these guys it's probably the only thing they're really going to go with. Obviously with how new this game is, that's probably the only thing they're going to go about, but it's definitely going to be interesting how where the setups are going to come from. But a lot of these guys probably on the TT setups, which, as we said, very, very understeery, very, very wobbly at times. Not really advised to try and do one in a league race when we do them, but definitely for this race, probably going to try and use them a lot of the time. As here comes Jake Benham rounding the final corner. The All-Star just a little bit too wide out of the final corner, has invalidated his lap time. What was it going to be anyway? It's going to be a 27.742, which would put him in towards the top 10th in, struck down into 10th, just behind Benea and just in front of Tarabukian, but just that little bit of an extension out of the final corner has definitely cost him dear.
Yeah, it has. We don't see it quite often. That final corner can cause drivers problems, and then obviously it messes up their next lap as well. Most of the drivers got a chance to get a first lap in, and it is for Scotsman Wilson Hughes, top of the standings at the moment as he's just heading out the pit lane on a lap for a second time. Ruben Pedreno in second place, and that is Ron Hart, Shooter, and Jack West, your top 5. Still yet to see any laps from Welsh, Benham, Donoso, Moreno, Pradshit, and Lucas Blakely. I wonder if any of them thinking about a bit of a last to first challenge just to get that bit of content in. As Wilson, we've seen what this guy can do in PSGL, obviously now signed up to McLaren Shadow. Who knows whether he'll end up being in esports, and now starting to prove himself on the PC. Don't be surprised if we see him fighting up towards the front more and more regularly as the seasons go on.
Yeah, absolutely. There are a load of dark horses this season in PSGL. Wilson Hughes definitely showing a lot of talent in the Challengers season. Ruben Pedreno as well. Thomas Ronhar again can definitely challenge. He's definitely one that has risen to fame from the Xbox side of things, similar to Jake Benham, just taking PC like a duck to water. It's absolutely fantastic to see them go all the way through with a load of other guys. Danny Moreno, obviously Jan Otmir's teammate throughout this esports season and through league racing in PSGL as well. He's back for a little bit more. He can definitely cause a challenge. I don't know if he might try and do a little bit of a helping out role with Jarno, but we'll have to wait and see how the season plays out. We might have a straight out battle between them, we never know, but we'll have to wait and see how it plays out in the race. But a lot of quick guys that can definitely challenge for the title, and I do think this season it's not going to be a full out Jarno Otmir dominance, I do believe. Yeah,
last season, I mean, we've seen a previous, not last season, but the season before, we saw there, obviously, Danny Moreno and Jarno Otmir are not quite working out so well together. Jarno's certainly not happy with that. It just seemed a switch flicked in the Dutchman. Part way through last season, he had that controversial penalty at France, which got talked about and debated so often by all his fans and fans of other drivers in the chats. And then, all of a sudden, as soon as that happened, he thought, right, that's it, I'm taking this seriously now. And from then, he seemed pretty much unstoppable. A bit like what Wilson's seeming at the moment in this qualifying session. He is up at the moment. He's just over a tenth of a second up, coming, well, over everyone else at the moment, and a few hundredths up as he came through the first sector. And again, keeping it nice and tidy as he now heads down this back straight, which we did see used on the short circuit. We've used that before in PSGL. I would be interested to see whether the rumours are true, whether we are going to get some of the short circuits and maybe some different tracks back as DLC. And a question for you, Josh. If we did get to see some old circuits of Formula 1 return as DLC, which ones would you like to see the most?
Sepang, every day of the week. Sepang is probably one of my favourite tracks of all time. It's absolutely a wondrous circuit to drive on the older games, and just it'll be an absolute dream to drive in this game. I can't wait if it does happen. Hopefully it does. As just as we say that, Wilson Hughes goes a little bit quicker with a 27.162. So close there. Ruben Pedreño as well, putting it into P2. The Baena in P3. Very, very tight between Hughes and Pedreño there. Absolutely fantastic to see. But yeah, going back to the point, I'd love Sepang to be in the game if it is coming to a DLC. I think be brilliant for league racing, brilliant for career mode, brilliant for everything, brilliant for time trial, and just probably one of the best tracks on F1 that's ever produced, in my opinion. It's probably one of the best.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd love to see Sepang back. Istanbul we've had over the last couple of seasons. I wouldn't mind too much if that one was there. Maybe a return to Hockenheim. Maybe even a return to Hanoi that we only saw on F1 2020. It was not the most loved track, but definitely could produce some chaos in the action there. You never knew if the weather was going to kick up. Louis Welsh now puts himself up in towards 9th place. Matthias van Herven has gone into 3rd. Quite a margin between 2nd and 3rd at the moment. Almost a quarter of a second. And in league racing terms, if you're not familiar with league racing, that is a great gaping chasm. There is very rarely any gaps of that size in league racing. Normally, things are very close together. We've got Ika Baena not running on to a second lap here. And this is also something that I've noticed over the last couple of nights of races that I've commentated on. This has changed from the last game as well. Whereas on the previous one, drivers were quite happy to put multiple laps on a set of soft tyres. On this occasion, everyone seems to be... It's back to how things used to be on F1 2020. It's one and done.
Yeah, it usually is the thing. Maybe it is due to the tyre wear. There's a lot going on the tyres, a lot of stress there. So that might be a reason for that, but we never know. I think probably that's probably going to be the main reason, but maybe just people don't want to take the risk if something drastic happens. Obviously, they did take the risk last time in 21, but maybe a little bit more of a risk this time around. But Jake Benham at the moment currently riding in P17, not set a lap time so far, invalidating his first run. Hopefully it can try and get the grid locks going this time around through into sector 2 as he enters into the Delta. Right now also going to be for Benham across the line, 5.829. That is purple on the mini map so far. I'm not sure how much I believe that, and just a little bit too wide once again. Just a little bit too much of understeer out of the corner and correcting out of the track, and another invalidation for Benham, and a massive moment once again, and Benham just cannot get to grips with this track right now.
No, things not really going well for him. He's kind of just struggling, just in the final sector, just running things wide at the moment, but I don't think he'll be too concerned about that. He does certainly look to have the pace, and here's someone who will be hoping to show the pace for the Ferrari Esports team on this game, and I'm sure in the Pro Series as well. The Chilean driver Fabrizio Donoso making his way now down towards turn number 11. A former runner-up in Esports, a former race winner, of course, now trying to rekindle his career with the Scuderia. Thankfully in Esports, their strategies tend to be a bit better than the ones they were using in real life, as Donoso also 105.8 as he comes through the middle sector point. I think just underlying how close things are here in PSGL. You think it's good tonight? Just imagine what it'll be like tomorrow once we've got Jarno Opmeer, Barry Bowerman and everyone getting ready for their races. Donoso taking the Jack Aitken line through the final corner there. That gets you an invalidation. And that leads Donoso heading straight towards the pits. Blakely retiring in the pit lane. Certainly that he is going for that last to first challenge.
Yeah, definitely so. He's completed it last season, so maybe he can try and complete it again. Just interesting on Donoso's lap there. He took the whole of that right-hander with the curb, which usually spat you out last time around. He took the whole of that, no problem, which is quite interesting there. So maybe you don't spin out like you used to on older games. So that's a very, very interesting one. So that might be the new meta. We don't know, but Donoso definitely taking a lot of chunk there as Jack West puts it up into P3 there for Red Bull. A brilliant time from the youngster there in towards P3. He goes kind of the track to get another lap in as best as he can. He's the only man out on track alongside Harvey Cohen, currently in P15 for the AlphaTauri man, but currently Wilson Hughes and Ruben Pedreño running away with this. 200 separate the two, and then 2/10 between West and Hughes. Everyone either on a 3 with West and everyone else on a 4 from 4th to 8th down. It's really a big gap between Hughes and Pedreño. They're lighting up the time so far, and this might be a hinge to next season.
Yeah, plenty of drivers, obviously. They've got plenty of time to put that gap in. 3 minutes 16 to go as Jack West was, I think it was Anthony Davidson who, in the virtual Grand Prix back during lockdown in 2020, made his way around the first corner like that just to try and avoid any of the carnage. And Jack West doing something similar to try and just get himself in the best possible time. Things very quiet out there on circuit with 3 minutes to go. It is still Hughes, Pedreño, West, Van Erven and Tamabukin, your fastest drivers at the moment. Cohen was on an out lap, but he's decided to bring it back towards the pits. Should still have plenty of time to head out there again, and it is going to be the 2 Aston Martins who are going to be the first drivers to set a time. Floris Valles heading out there early on, and Duncan Hoffland also doing it. And this is something I remember from the many times I commented on Duncan here at PSGL on the PlayStation platform. This is something he liked doing a lot, being out there early on, getting the laps done as soon as possible. Yes, it gives you an opportunity to get a second run in if you have an issue on your first lap, but you don't get the track in the best conditions, and he could really do with moving up at the moment. He's all the way down in 16th.
Yeah, definitely. So the 2 Aston Martin guys do decide to go early for their last runs. Flourish Fires out on the 2-minute laps and followed closely by Duncan Hoffland. So it might be wise to just set the laps going right now, but coming out later on, it might not be the best decision. They might plummet when the track is really at its best. Flourish Fires will be coming into turn 1 right now and just about misses the traffic right away. Duncan Hoffland just getting a little bit in the traffic with the Ferrari on the right hand side and coming up towards one of the Alfa Romeos. I believe that's either Iker Baena or Tomic Paradzic. That is Iker Baena just going out of picture. Flourish Fires will be continuing this nonetheless. Purple sector 1, 64 thousandths up on his personal best in towards the right-hander. 4th gear action. You don't really see a lot of these guys go any lower than 4th gear. That's the new meta. If you go any lower than one of the 4 gears, you will be spinning out. That's how easy it is. Jake Benham, I believe, just getting out of the way to the left-hand side. Danny Moreno has retired, so he's going to try and go from last to the back of the field to question mark, if you like. Here comes Flourish Fires up the hill into sector 2, flying towards the right-hander. Does he take any curb? No, he doesn't. He decides to stay right clear of that one. And a 10th and 3/4 up into sector 2. Not bad at all from the Dutchman as he comes up towards the final corner now and really needs a good lap here to try and boost himself up out of the bottom 11. Round in the final corner comes Vyers riding that curb like a skateboard. DRS wide open for Vyers across the line. He comes and goes P9 with a 27.498. Very close to the timing shooter. Duncan Hoffland about to cross the line now. He's invalidated and will not wait. He's going to try and get one lap going. He will have time before Vyers up into P9.
Yeah, he'll have another chance to set another lap. Fabrizio Donoso. Oh, we've just seen, I think that was an Alpine I saw spearing off towards the right-hand side there. That's just got things wrong at the moment. Not sure who that was. Tamabukin, the Russian driver, travelling very slowly at the moment. So he now drops down another position as we are starting to see these final few improvements in qualifying. Donoso's invalidated. I'm starting to think this might be a purposeful ploy by the Chilean driver. Again, just maybe hiding some of that one-lap qualifying pace, not too bothered about where he qualifies, just thinking about the race, thinking about getting some good pace. Zaleski will not be getting that. He spun it coming out of the final corner. These cars do not like being ridden on the curb sometimes. Wilson Hughes, though, coming through the final corner, getting things nice and comfortable. Can we see a 126 from the Scotsman? No! Just misses out. But a 127.037 puts him on provisional pole position. Can anyone get close to that? Matthias Van Erven's improving. He goes into 3rd, just behind Pedreño. At the moment, Ruben isn't improving. Let's see what the Williams can do. Thomas Ronhaar's invalidated on his lap, as has Louis Welsh. It's all looking good for Wilson Hughes at the moment.
Absolutely. So Jake Benham is about to cross the line. He's kept his lap going across the line for Benham. P10 is all he's going to manage. Benham really struggling in that session. Here comes Tomic Paradzic. No, it's not. It's going to be Iker Baena. He comes into the pit lane. Not going to improve. Duncan Hoffland is going to try and improve as well. Crosses the line and stays 17th. Harvey Cohen now next across the line. Currently down in the time. Can he improve anywhere else? No, he cannot. Only by 18 thousandths, but stays there. Jack West about to cross the line now. Currently in P6, make that P5. Just not denominates time and shooter down into the bottom 6. Jack West up in towards P5. I believe that is going to be everyone. Forest Fires coming in towards the pit lane. But Wilson Hughes topping the timing sheets. A beautiful uptime from the Scotsman up into P1. Pole position for him. Pedreño alongside him in P2. Van Erven in P3. Paradzic in P4. West P5. Shooter P6. Tarabuk in P7. Baena 8th. Word Vyers 9th. And Benham in P10. And what an end to qualifying that was.
Yeah, fantastic end to qualifying there. I mean, just all the way through. Wilson put in some superb drives all the way through that session. I think he was fastest after the first ones, fastest after the second ones, fastest after the third one. So, not bad whatsoever. Proving he's got some pace. Definitely not doing that sandbagging at the moment. He is on pole position. He wouldn't mind that in about 24 hours time, would he? In the full qualifying session. It might be a bit harder to do tomorrow. We'll see how things go there. But it is Wilson fastest at the moment. Pedreño in second. Matthias Van Erven third. Then it's Paradzic, West, Shooter, Tawabukin, Baena, Floris Vyers rounding out the top 9. Benham in 10th. Thomas Ronhar starting in 11th place. Of course, on the previous game, that would have got you a free choice of tyres. Not the case this time around. Everyone has that. Sam McBride is 12th. Louis Welsh, Ash Best, Dizaleski, Cohen, Hoffland, and Donoso Moreno and Lucas Blakely. Every single one of them trying to go for the last to first challenge. We'll see if Lucas can manage it, and we'll see you very shortly after the break. Yeah, it was a fantastic qualifying session there. That's all. Wilson Hughes take pole position. Ruben Pedreño was close behind him all the way through the session, but couldn't quite improve at the end. And Lucas, Danny and Fab, they're going for the content. They're quite happy to be starting in last.
Yeah, definitely so. They're quite happy to start from the back of the field, and actually very, very interestingly so, everyone either on mediums and on hards apart from Fabrizio Donoso on the softs. So that is quite interesting for tomorrow with the amount of different variations of strategy. Hard to softs maybe, medium to softs for a lot of these guys. Obviously the fresh tyre, the fresh rubber will definitely help them out. And now actually Donoso changes to the hard. So no one on the soft compound tyres, which is quite interesting to say, to be honest. I wasn't really expecting that going into the race, but very, very interesting indeed. Everyone not on the softs, either mediums or hards being used. And so everyone going very, very long to this race, maybe around 19, maybe even late to 25. A lot of guys going for the last dance on the softs really near the end.
Yeah, a lot of drivers wanted to avoid avoid going for the soft tyres at the start of the race. We know they're not exactly the best around this circuit. It is one that is known for killing the tyres. 5.412 kilometres, 3.362 miles with the 15 turns and the 3 DRS zones that we have always mentioned. Always plenty of opportunity for DRS trains and overtaking. As we take a look at what tyres everyone has gone for, majority of the field at the front are on the mediums. Jack West, that higher placed car, on the hard tyres, and towards the back, those that didn't set a time, all of them apart from Lucas, going for a set of the hards. Both McLarens on the mediums. Wilson obviously wanted to get a great start, and Lucas tried to work his way through the field in the early stages.
Yeah, definitely so. 9 on the hards, 11 on the medium. So Wilson Hughes and Ruben Pedreño, Matthias Van Erven and Tomac Paradzic all going hammer and tongs together, I wonder, into turn 1. So they'll definitely be trying to challenge each other there. As looking at the tyre strategy, medium to hards might be an interesting one. So we might see maybe a few early on onto the hards. We might probably see a lot of the guys on towards the softs, but hearing a few rumours actually that the soft compound tyres this game probably not the best to go. Obviously I have heard that they don't last very, very long, so that might be an interesting thing to note out. So we might see, as I said, maybe a few of the medium guys going early on, as Tomac Paradzic actually getting disqualified from the formation, and so that's really not going to help his chances of heating up his tyres, so he might really plummet down. So this might be an interesting battle between Hughes, Pedreño, Van Erven, and maybe even Jack West and Timon Shooter getting a little bit busy into turn 1. We're about to start in towards the Bahrain Grand Prix. Obviously, formation laps. You can start where you want to position your grids, well, position your car on the grid. So that's a very, very interesting one to see where everyone parks their car. Hughes lines up in pole position with Pedreño on the right hand side. We're about to get ready for the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Yeah, Jack West really quite aggressively was out. Well, I think that's why he's got disqualified from the session, was pointing his car quite aggressively to the right-hand side there. It's going to be interesting to see how the tyre warm-ups have worked. Could Pravacic be a bit of trouble on his slightly cooler tyres as we wait for the lights to come on here at Bahrain to get the Invitational underway. 5 lights go out and they're off here at the Sakir International Circuit. It's a pretty even start between the front couple of drivers. Matthias Van Erven trying to make it free wide on the run down towards turn 1, but it is Hughes with a clear lead there. Van Erven down the inside himself and Pedreño almost touching there. Pravacic and Tamabukin also getting close as West loses out on those harder tyres, but Wilson Hughes escaping away. There's all sorts of side-by-side action in the background. Baena, Bayers and Thomas Ronhar getting extremely close together there. And in the end, Ronhar's had to back out. And I think Baena going side-by-side here with Floris Bayers just about manages to hold on to that position. The Spaniard manages to do very well to keep it clean there. And almost thinking about a move on Jake Benham as now Floris thinks about going one round the outside of the Spanish driver. That is not going to work in these early stages, but everyone has made it through the first couple of sectors cleanly, as there was Blakely and Donoso getting extremely close together. Ash Bester's dropped back as well a bit from his grid position, but Blakely and Donoso getting the start they'd have wanted on their last to first strategy, and as did Wilson Hughes as he goes for the more conventional first to first. The McLaren 6/10 of a second ahead.
Yeah, brilliant start there from Wilson Hughes, getting the job done off the lights. Van Erven getting the job done on Pedreño as well. It's 3-wide action down the field. Blakely, Welch and Dezalewski with Lucas Blakely just getting out of that one, really battling hard with Welch down the bottom, but moving up the further field. Wilson Hughes really getting the job done and trying to get the gap away from Van Erven, with Pedreño waiting in the wings. Baradzic, obviously with that disqualification, probably his tyres just starting to get up to temperature there as Timon Shooter really plugging away on Tarabukin, as well as battling everywhere. You look further down the field, Lucas Blakely versus Louis Welch down the inside. Goes the Scotsman, the F1 Esports winner. Around the outside goes Blakely, getting the job done. Obviously an F1 Esports winner around this track and getting the job done up into P14 after 2 laps. A brilliant move there from the Scotsman, the new Veloce driver, getting the job done early in these crucial stages.
Yeah, of course, a lot of people still wondering which of the Veloce affiliated teams he'll end up driving for in the future in esports. He's in the McLaren tonight and doing a very good job. And in fact, down the inside there, he's thinking about it on Dezalewski. And not a lot the Frenchman could have done. Blakely is on fire here in Bahrain. 7 places gained already in the first lap and a half. He's the biggest winner. Biggest loser on the first laps. Harvey Cowan and Duncan Hoffland both down 3 places as Dezalewski's going one way and the other, trying to make a move on Blakely, but there's Blakely up ahead, trying to get the move down on the senior Red Bull car, down the inside of Sam McBride, and that is down the Scottish driver up towards 12th place, and Dezalewski around the outside at turn number 13. This would be a brave one this early on in the race if you can make this move work, and Sam McBride in the end just coming out ahead in all of that one. DRS will be activated next time around. First time they'll be able to use it is towards turn number 4. And the entire field just about staying in that train at the moment. The first man who's looking in the most danger there was Jake Benham. He very nearly dropped outside of that 1 second window.
Yeah, Benham about 8/10 back on Timon Shooter with half the DRS. Is going to close up massively. But Dezalewski and McBride getting very, very close together, touching and banging wheels all the way. Everything fair there. So nothing interesting to look out there. Iko Banana trying to get closer to Jack West as well. West going a little bit wide, trying to catch up to his former compatriot on Xbox of Jake Benham as they fly towards the sector and the center S's, if you like, of Bahrain. Coming in towards the right-hander, a little bit of a look up there from Jack West. Nothing harm doing as Iko Baena trying to really close up this gap towards the Red Bull man, flying in towards the double left-hander, one of the trickiest corners on the circuit and actually on the calendar. DRS wide open, nevertheless for the Alfa Romeo driver, but West just absolutely fantastic in a straight line, getting about half a tenth of a second, I probably would say, on Iker Bahrain. There's Danny Moreno and Fabrizio Donoso around the outside of the Mercedes, and actually looking down the inside of Ash Best, having a look on Moreno. Actually, here comes Fabrizio Donoso once again, having a look down that inside of the machine, side by side. Moreno versus Donoso, very, very tight indeed, but Moreno just coming out on top this time around, and Donoso has to wait another day. But if we enter lap 4, Hughes and Van Erven getting very, very close, and I wonder if Van Erven might have a look at the move.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to think about a move. Someone who's not thinking about moves and he's just getting them done at the moment, though, is Lucas Blakely. He's now up into 11th place, using those fresh soft mediums to his advantage, making the moves on a lot of the hard tyres in the low end of the order. I wonder if now it's just going to become a bit more difficult. We're seeing top 8 drivers on sets of mediums at the moment. Perhaps, unsurprising, things will come onto the hard tyres. It all depends for them. Will they be able to go on the softs at the end, and just how fast will they be at the end of this race? And who knows, will we see any of those on the mediums try to stretch those tyres out for a medium soft strategy? It's always been a bit of a mystery at Bahrain what the different drivers are going to do. No mystery though. Wilson Hughes still leading this race now by about 4/10 of a second. He's tried as he might to break away as Thomas Ronhaar has a bit of a moment coming out of the hairpin at turn number 8. Thankfully he's able to continue. He gets away without any damage and drops right towards the back of the field. We are seeing a few more of them spins, something that I doubt we're going to see tonight, but it's definitely possible on this game. Because of the low floors, you can actually get your car beached.
Yeah, definitely. That's a new feature on this game. Running the curves a little bit too high or too aggressively, you will find yourself riding them like a skateboard, if you like. As well, watch out for those ones, definitely in the high-speed corners. You definitely want to watch out. Lucas Blakely has definitely been running the curves very, very aggressively these past couple of laps, trying to get up the field. He's currently battling with Desmond Luskin. I'm sure he's fed up of that AlphaTauri sign staring him in the face, and I'm probably going to short. He's going to try and dispatch of him to the right hand side. Goes Blakely, easy as you're done on Desaluski, and Blakely back up in towards P11 and braking very, very late, just getting the job done on towards the corner as Ash Best and Fabrizio Donoso, the two Ferraris, squabbling away for P16, and Fabrizio Donoso might be looking to try and go around the outside further up the field. Wilson Hughes and Matthias Van Erven still sticking with each other, with Pedreño just waiting in the wings. They come towards sector 2 once again. Hughes can't really shake this ass off him at the moment. He's really having to push a long way to try and shake off Van Erven, but Van Erven always in his mirrors at the moment as he comes towards the DRS detection zone, or for the second time this race. Really closing up is the Haas. Meanwhile, the other Haas of Time and Shooter trying to close up to Tara Buchan as well. Really, as we sort of predicted in this race, just a DRS train making it really impossible to try and get any overtaking done. Yeah, we have seen a bit of more of a split in the train though, because of those drivers on the hard tyres, and also Jack West running a bit low on his ERS. He's below 10%. That's when you see the red flag flashing. That's when you start clipping. That's when pressing the overtake button makes you feel good. Doesn't really have as much as effect as it does at the higher speed. So he might start coming under some pressure from Floris Myers. These are the two lead cars on the hard tyres. Do not write them off yet. Just because they've not got the pace at the moment does not mean they won't be flying up towards the back of some of these cars at the end of the race. As Blakely sets the fastest lap of the race, Floris Myers is going to think about it. Down the inside into turn number 1 goes the Aston Martin. He takes 9th place. Can Jack West, can the man formerly known as Sparks, of course, a bit similar to what Wilson Hughes was known as on the PlayStation platform, can he fight his way back up in towards 9th place? Not on this occasion. If these two battle too much, it'll drag Blakely, it'll drag Desalecki, it'll drag McBride and the rest of these field onto their backs. Then they'll have a lot more of a problem than just those front 9 cars beginning to escape. We're still far too early from any sort of pit stops. Can we see anyone on the medium tyres maybe trying something a bit more aggressive, a bit of an aggressive undercut, pitting early on, but knowing they'll have to drag the hards an extremely long way? I'll definitely be very, very interesting if they did. Maybe probably the only men that probably will do this, maybe Wilson Hughes and Lucas Blakely, the leading medium runners in their train. Maybe just going to try something a little bit different, but we never know what the hard guys are going to run if they go very, very long on towards the softs. And actually, Hughes starting to struggle a little bit. A very, very big snap out of the right-hander there, and really Matthias Van Erven is starting to close up ever so slightly. Around the final corner comes the two, bustling away as they start lap 7 of 29. Here comes Van Erven in the DRS and in the slipstream of the Scotsman. Is he close enough to try and make a move going? He's gaining and gaining and gaining on the McLaren Shadow driver. Not going to happen this time around. Hughes with a big lockup into turn 1, hitting into turn 2. Comes Van Erven. Another DRS tone is waiting for the Haas man. Here he comes then in the slipstream, probably too far back this time around to think about anything. And yes, he is a little bit too far back this time around. Meanwhile, Lucas Blakely is not too far behind. Jack Best down the inside goes the McLaren driver, bustling all the way in contact between the two. Blakely skidding out of the right-hander. Brilliant to see. So tight, ever so slightly. And Lucas Blakely again having a look down the inside of West. He's absolutely furious with the Welshman as they come towards the right-hander really aggressively there. Jack West just letting him go, and I'm sure Blakely is probably not happy with West's defensive masterpiece, but definitely very, very interesting early on. Blakely versus West. No love lost between the two, and it's Lucas Blakely that comes out on top trying to close down with flourish fires.
Yeah, just trying to close him down. And we said this battling could cost them. They nearly dropped outside of the DRS zone of Flourish Myers, who himself is about 2.2 seconds now off the back of those front 8 who are just being allowed to escape away. They're not fighting too hard, and we're not really seeing too many changes at the front of the field. If we get up the positions changed, I mean, obviously Jake Benham had that start of the race, and Andre Tarabukin moving up some places as well, taking advantage of some hard runners and incidents further up the field. But apart from that, not really too many moves. As I say that, of course, Diamond Shooter decides he's fed up of being stuck in the middle of this train, and he's going to try and make some action happen. Haas versus the Alpine at the moment, and it is the Dutchman who just gets ahead for now. Still has the DRS, obviously off the car in front, and that is now Diamond Shooter up towards for the top 5. Lap number 8, Hughes, Van Erven, Pedreno are your top 3. Still plenty of action down the field, as there goes Fabrizio Donoso, not able to make things work on his hard tyres. Obviously, as much as Blakely is on the mediums, starting from the back of the grid. Same goes for Moreno. Now Moreno and Donoso are 14th and 15th. You've got to be a bit more patient on these hard tyres. You have got to play the long game, and of course it is frustrating when you see some of your main rivals just escape up the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure it is damaging a little bit of their confidence, but you got to remember you are on the slower tyres, so you just got to wait and see. Meanwhile, someone who's not waiting around is Lucas Blakely, up 11 positions out of 8 laps to go, and it's absolutely been a fantastic showing from Lucas Blakely all the way through. He's been absolutely on fire this past 8 laps, and he's up into P9 and now is on the back of the lead train, 2.5 seconds away. Really, he's going to have to try and push as hard as he can. We're on to 22% ERS. It's definitely not looking good on the ERS front for Blakely, sorry. And just interesting, just the way this game works with the ERS deployment. It's almost near impossible to try and harvest this game then from last game. Very, very easy. Just brake very, very late, and usually it recharges very, very easily. Really braking hard only gains you about 2%, so you really got to be very, very careful by how much you use in the ERS. Meanwhile, Matthias Van Erven getting closer and closer to Wilson Hughes, just once again not close enough to try and get something in the mix with the Scotsman, as Ruben Pedreno once again just happy to stick back, not really pushing too hard, just saving his ERS, and just happy for them to just try and push along. Same with Tomac Paratic, just having a quiet race out in P4 with Diamond Shooter trying to battle away with Andrew Tarabukin, as we saw a couple of laps ago. Really happy just to stick with the train alongside Jake Ben and Nika Baena. Baena has really been close to Benham this past few laps, but once again just happy to sit back. And now Lucas Blakely, in the past about half a lap, has got into the 1.9 seconds. He's absolutely flying, is the F1 Esports driver.
Yeah, Blakely just trying to push those tyres as hard as possible. Jarno decided not to race tonight, but he will be here tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Make sure to join George Morgan and Jack Canaan for round number 1 of season 31 here at PSGL. The first of 10 rounds for what will be a shortened season due to the Pro Series, and hopefully the action will be exactly what we've seen at the moment. And I imagine we won't see too many people going for the last to first, although Lucas Blakely did it in a real race last time. It worked out well for him. It's working out pretty well at the moment, and that slipstream DRS working out beautifully for Baena at the moment. Round the outside, he's going to have to go on Jake Benham, gives the Mercedes man the All-Star A bit of a squeeze in towards turn number 1. And Benham still comes out ahead. But if these two drop outside for DRS range, that'll be good news for Lucas Blakely and good news for those front 6 drivers as they just try to break away. Baena, he thought hard there. Just wonder if he's cost himself and Benham a bit of time in the long run, because now they are just over a second behind.
Absolutely, I think Bahrain maybe fighting a little bit too hard with Benham there, just lasting those 2 corners. Bahrain having a look down that inside into 2, never going to happen. And now Benham really having to use quite a bit of ERS just to try and catch up there, really having to push hard there as Thomas Shooter not waiting around. Paradic getting the job done, and Shooter and Paradic actually has been kind of slacking on his pace recently and has actually glitched past Jake Benham as well. I'm not sure what has happened on my screen there. I'm not sure if it's same on yours, Luke, but Paradic's now down into P7. I'm not sure if there's a few connection issues happening on his side, but a few little bit interesting moves there as Ika Baena now all over the back of his teammate, having a look down then inside into the final corner and not quite close enough, and waiting on another day. Wilson Hughes really happy to stay out in front alongside Van Erven, and really just nothing Van Erven can do. Thomas Shooter fast up for the Grand Prix with a 131.028. Van Erven getting closer and closer to Wilson Hughes, and once again a little bit too far back. Here comes Tomek Paradic down the inside on Benham. Contact made once again between the Polish driver and the British man. Very, very tight indeed. And here comes Jake Benham having a look back on Paradic. Paradic forcing him to the wall. Here comes Benham round the outside. Is it going to be enough? Benham, a beautiful move on the Alfa Romeo driver, side by side. Paradic not giving him enough room, side by side. Benham with a beautiful move down the inside. Baena trying to follow through, not gonna happen. The all-star Jake Benham up into P6, a beautiful move on the Polish man, the champion of challengers of Tomek Paradic. Jake Benham dethrones him, and Benham up into P6, now trying to battle with Andrei Tarabukin.
Absolutely fantastic that. Jake Benham, simply superb all the way round the outside, managed to make that one work. Bit of wheel banging between the two of them. Baena got very close to the back of his teammate for tonight, and wouldn't be too surprised if he's picked up a bit of damage. And as we said, if they keep battling hard, look who it's going to allow to catch up. All of a sudden, Lucas Blakely right on the back of these cars as we've had another spinner. And a bit like earlier on, it's one of the Williams facing the wrong direction. Louis Welsh finding things quite difficult at the moment. The Williams, unfortunately for him, dropping down towards last place. He might need a safety car to get him back towards the swing of the things. The leaders all carry on for another lap. Hughes, Van Erven, Pedreño, Shooter, Tarabukin, Benham, Paradic, Baena and Blakely. And Lucas, I think, knowing he's not got the ERS usage at the moment, can't really go for the move down the straight. Just trying to take a bit of a different line, just trying to get himself into the mirrors of that car in front and try to spook the Spaniard if he can. He's got a decent run here, and I wonder whether we are going to see him try the move that we saw Benham do earlier around the outside in towards turn number 4. Can't quite get the overlap, so he has to just stick in position for now.
Yeah, Blakely and Baena really battling away in a massive moment once again for Lucas Blakely, really using all the curves he can, actually getting a penalty. Baena really shoving him the door there, just going off track, and a penalty is given. Not sure if this race is being stewarded or not, but Lucas Blakely really looking very, very hungry for a lot of positions here, and the fight of this man is absolutely fantastic to see as Lucas Blakely really plugging away on the 2 Alfa Romeos. Baena in front with Tomek Paradic, 2 in front of him, and Blakely is probably going to have to try and push a little bit longer as Louis Welsh comes into the pit lane, as we said, to retire the car. Unfortunate to see that. Once again, Blakely using all the curves he can to try and catch up besides Van Erven. However, probably one of the closest he's been all race long to the back of Wilson Hughes. Here he comes then, Matthias Van Erven as Bruno Pedreño, the first one to pit. Here comes Van Erven, really not waiting around this time around. Does he want to have a look on Hughes? No, he's not. He's going to wait a little while longer. And now a few of the pit stoppers on the mediums now change for the hards. Pedreño on the hards. Tomek Paradic is coming in as well alongside Ika Baena. There's a double stack at Alfa Romeo alongside Ash Best, who comes into the pit lane. Paradic on the hards, Pedreño on the hards, Ash on the hards, and I wonder if Baena is on the hards as well. So everyone having a look on an undercut.
Yeah, Ash Best, of course, the former PSGL champion, making his way out of the pits at the moment on the hard tyres, waiting to see what he can do. So they're the first drivers to go for it. They're the first ones to come into the pits, and you can see the gap there. Pedreno about 25.5 seconds behind Wilson Hughes at the moment. Not too surprised he came into the pits. He did briefly drop outside of the DRS range of Van Erven. Those top two were starting to break away. We're just starting to put that bit of a spurt on, put that break in the field. And maybe that could be a crucial move. We'll just see how well the hard tyres heat up. If it's anything like what we saw in real life at Silverstone, it could well be a few seconds, well, a lap or two even, before they come into good condition. And you can see at the moment, Pedreno still not looking the most comfortable on those hard tyres. And that's another thing with the time trial setups. They're all used to when the cars are in perfect light fuel conditions with the soft tyres and no overheating whatsoever. Let's see if we get any reactions from some more of the front runners making their way into the pits. It looks like they're all quite happy to stay out there at the moment. No one really reacting to those earlier on as Lucas Blakely sets the fastest lap of the race as he continues his charge up to the back of Jake Benham.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually having a look there was Blakely as Flourish Flyers and Jack West battle away. Flyers getting, closing the door on Jack West. Flourish Flyers getting his elbows out there and getting the job done. Lucas Blakely, however, really hunting down Jake Benham. Bomber Blakely versus the all-star Jake Benham. They come towards Sector 1 and Sector 2. Blakely really pushing very, very hard. Only 13% though of his ERS left to go. Hunting down Jake Benham, one of the future talents of F1 Esports. Currently driving for Mercedes. Maybe a hint, maybe this season or seasons to come, that he might be going to the Mercedes crew for the F1 Esports series. But Lucas Blakely, nevertheless, obviously part of the Lotche development, both parts of a Lotche, not teammates this time around, as Blakely really hounding down Jake Benham. And obviously Benham without the DRS, and Blakely is really going to help this charge to try and get him off an overtake. Here comes Blakely really pushing on Benham, as we've said, these past few laps. And really closing down another little bit of a moment there for Blakely, as really going to push down on Benham as he wants to try anything into the final corner. Surely not waiting for the DRS, and he's going to stay put for now down on towards the back straight. There goes Andrei Tarabukin in towards the pit lane. So this is the battle for P4. Here comes Lucas Blakely. This should be fairly easy on Jake Benham. Pulls to the right hand side. Goes the Scotsman down the inside. Benham lets him have it and gets the job done. Lucas Blakely up into P4. Jake Benham dethroned, and Blakely now can try and challenge with Shooter, Van Erven and Hughes.
Yeah, it does have that 3-second time penalty, of course, but you can see 16 places gained. He'd have taken this after the qualifying, obviously. We said it a few times, he is going for that last to first, and you never know, stranger things have happened, but pretty much at the halfway point. Lap number 15 out of 29 as we had a brief yellow flag there, not quite sure what it was for, and stopping out seems to have been the tactic. As you can see, Andrei Tarabukin has come out of the pit ahead of Ruben Pedreno. The overcut almost proving to be the best thing, but can the Spaniard fight back? His tyres are up to temperature. His teammate certainly will not be. You can just see how close Pedreno's getting round the outside. He's going to try it in towards turn number 8. Tarabukin, just no temperature in those tyres.
Yeah, absolutely not, as you can see. And already Tarabukin coming out of about 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths away from his teammate Pedreno. The overcut maybe seemed to work, but once you get out there, the stone cold tyres are going to hit you like a train. And Pedreno already 5 tenths clear of his teammate, and it might be even a second as they enter in towards the back straight. So the real tyre difference is very, very major. Here comes out the background up top. Van Erven versus Hughes, round 16. Once again, nothing happening. Danny Moraine, Flourish Fires, Sam McBride, Fabrizio Donoso, all pit off the hard compound tyres to the hard tyres. Now deciding to come in towards the pit lane for the mediums. I probably would assume, yes it is, all on the medium compounded tyres. So very, very interesting to see. They're not going to try and go a little bit longer to try for the softs. They're going to go for the medium compound tyres. Do they come out in front of the battle between Pedreno and Tarabukin? Here comes Flourish Fires out of frame, and there he is, out in front of Paradic, but behind the two Alpines.
Yeah, and of course he won't have the same tyre warm-up problems, but he's not going to have the DRS. And look at Paradzic round the outside into turn number 3. Has that DRS. Cool as you like, says the Powell. And Paradzic up in towards 13th place. Myers will just be hoping he can hang on the back for now. I'm surprised we saw the hard tyre runners coming that early. Those at the front of the race have decided to stay out. Yes, Hughes and Van Erven especially have not been doing the same amount of battling. And talking of battling, Jack West trying to get the move done on Floris Fires at the moment, trying to take advantage of those warmed up medium tyres. They don't have the same sidewalls, obviously, these wider, well, these bigger 18-inch wheels that they had on compared to the previous games and previous Formula 1 cars when it was 13 inches. Means it's a bit harder to build up the temperature. Generally means the tyres are a bit more stable, but this is why the undercut is not proving as effective as it once was. And Tamabukin almost very briefly making the overcut work as West all over the back of Floris Fires do it here. Nothing doing though. He stays behind for now. We are seeing the hard tyres start to come into their own though. There goes Danny Moreno ahead of Antoine de Zaleski, the second Mercedes, into the top 6.
Yeah, Moreno is really on a mission here. The hard tyres are now starting to get a little bit quicker than the mediums, and I wonder if Moreno might start a very elegant charge in these coming laps. Obviously, Desaluski is going to try and stick with him best as he can, but obviously Desaluski on about 8% of battery with Danny Moreno on 71, so he's really been saving his ERS quite a bit to maybe charge this lap. Maybe he's been planning it in practice just to go from here. So hard tyres still working very, very well on Moreno. And again, with Harvey Cohen, those are the only two that have stayed out on the hard compound tyres. Everyone else coming in for the mediums, and I just wonder if Moreno is just hoping for a safety car, maybe to try and strap on the hards, the soft, sorry, in the early stages or the late stages of the race. He's currently stuck in a little bit of a rut trying to catch up to Jake Benham, but Antoine Desaluski is still there as well. If he can try and shake off Desaluski, he'll be definitely in a world of happiness. As here comes Wilson Hughes versus Matthias Van Erven. Once again, DRS in usage with Van Erven, but look how much battery he has, 80%. He's really been saving quite a bit. I don't think I've ever seen him actually touch it this whole race. Again, with Wilson Hughes down on about 68 to 70%. Van Erven looking pretty good on the tyre wear, but on the ERS front. But Van Erven maybe looking a little bit healthier as they still battle away between the two. As Desaluski still happy to continue battling with Moreno, and Harvey Cohen pits off the hards, and now it's only Moreno left on hard compound tyres, and there goes Blakely on Jake Benham.
Yeah, Blakely then gets ahead of Jake Benham, so Blakely now up in towards that 4th place. 2 McLarens sandwiching the 2 Haas cars at the moment. Hughes, Van Erven, shoots at Blakely. Benham in 5th alongside Desaluski. They're the only cars not to have pitted off the medium tyres. And you can see as well, there's still Danny Moreno out there, not come off his set of hards. These look as though they're stretching towards the softs. And Wilson Hughes, he's still 28.5 seconds ahead of Uber Pedreno. It was about 26.5 after Pedreno came into the pit. So that undercut just has not worked out for the Spaniard. He's not been able to drop his teammate. You never know, this could bring, obviously, Shooter and Blakely into play a bit more at the end of the race, especially if they are able to make it to the end on a set of the softs.
Yeah, definitely so, and I think we're all kind of a little bit surprised, to be honest. I think, obviously, with the introduction of how the pit stop tyre wear works, we all thought that the undercut would be the way to go, but definitely the overcut seemed to be the best way to go around here. So that might be a little bit interesting for league races to come. As once again, Hughes and Van Erven really plugging away. Meanwhile, Jack West and Forrest Vyers were battling away. Jack West gets the job done on Vyers this time around. And still Moreno happy to carry on his 18-lap old horse. And and again, getting the feeling that he might be trying to go the long way on towards the soft compound as hard as hoping for a safety car. But once again, with the caliber of the drivers, that might not come in time for the Moreno. But obviously, with a lot of guys left to pit, the top 7 yet to pit, it's definitely going to be a very interesting time. Just the gap between Hughes and Pedreno, 28 seconds. That might be enough, just enough for Hughes to get the job done in the pit stops. He's had an absolutely amazing stint on these medium compound tyres, and so has Van Erven to keep in front. Those two have been absolutely fantastic with their tyre saving all the way through. Blakely has really been pushing, and he's done very, very well to have these mediums last that long, and currently he's trying to catch up to the DRS of Shooter. Here comes Wilson Hughes and Matthias Van Erven out of the final corner though. Do they decide to come in this lap? Here comes Hughes out of the final corner. Does he decide to peel into the pit lane this lap, or does he wait a little while longer? He's going to wait a little while longer, and so does Van Erven, and now Blakely is in the DRS shooter, and now Blakely can try and hunt his charge for the podium.
Yeah, he can. Just looking at the tyres on Van Erven, you can see that telltale graining sign about 2/3 across the tyre on the front right. If that's what that one looks like, imagine what the front left looks like. Obviously, being a clockwise track, it is the front left that starts to take a bit more pressure. And you can see these medium tyres have probably just gone past their best at the moment, but they're still carrying on, and they're still not doing too bad pace-wise compared to Pedreno. They're not looking in a bad situation whatsoever, and given the fact that they'll be on for softs, you wouldn't expect them to have the same tyre warm-up issues that we saw earlier on. Donoso's had no issues warming up his tyres down the inside of Vias and Rest. It's 2 for 1 for the Chilean in the Ferrari. Donoso now into the top 10. Maybe let's not write him out for a good result at the moment. He's only, out of the drivers that have pitted, he's only got the 2 Alpines ahead of him, as now Vias down the inside of West. Those two getting very close together. It's a bit like the PSF1 finale last season, which saw some contact. Vias has been tapped, and the Dutchman goes around. He was fighting hard there with Jack West, and you just had a feeling someone was going to come off worse.
Yeah, that was always going to happen when you're fighting that hard. There's always going to contact that's going to occur, and Flourish Fires has come off worse. There goes Jack West on Sam McBride. Easy as you like goes West and Donoso. As you were saying, really a man on a mission, but how about this? Here comes Wilson Hughes and Matthias Van Erven. They come into the pit lane. Jake Bennett with a 5-second penalty. Here comes Blakely for the lead on shooter. Down the inside goes Blakely in towards the lead. Bomber Blakely from 20th on the field. It's taking him 21 laps to get up in towards the lead, and Lucas Blakely now leads the Bahrain Grand Prix. He hasn't pitted yet, but what an absolutely fantastic stint he has done on these medium compound tyres. Van Erven has jumped Hughes in the pit lane, crucially on the soft compound tyres, with Pedreno in P3, Benham in P4. Here comes Hughes, really going to have to push on Van Erven if he wants this lead back. In the net lead, down the inside, goes the Scotsman. Here comes Van Erven with a switchback, beautiful between the two, but it's Hughes who just about hangs on these soft compounded tyres, and Hughes gets back up into the net lead of the race, and a beautiful piece of battling between the two. Have been battling all the way through, and it's Wilson Hughes who comes out on top in P5 with Matthias Van Erven in P6. Pedreno is still there in P7 with Benham with a 5-second penalty for speed in the pit lane in P8. But how fast can he try and get this 5-second advantage if he can?
Yeah, certainly, and it's worked out going longer on the tyres, the hards around this circuit. I think we saw at the start of the race, the warm-up is just dreadful on them, to be honest. And it has not worked out for, really, you could argue, anyone apart from Donoso, who started on the hard tyres. We'll see how things work out for Moreno, obviously. And then Pedreno and Tarabukin, who went from the mediums to the hards. It's not worked out brilliantly for them. We imagine these soft tyres are going to last 9 laps. They could be looking very stupid at the moment, but we'll wait and see. Shooter, Blakely, Zaleski and Moreno all coming to their pits. Here comes Matthias Van Erven. There's no hanging about now with 8 laps to go. The Dutchman down the inside of his former CRG teammate. Van Erven retakes the lead. Hughes down towards second, but he'll have the DRS fighting up the hill, of course. Coming out of turn number 3. And it doesn't look like he's closing off on this occasion. And Shooter's come out the pit lane in 3rd place, quite a long way ahead of Lucas Blakely, the Scotsman possibly having a bad pit stop with the new pit mechanics.
Yeah, definitely so. You can now try and turn in to your pit box, and obviously it's going to determine how fast or how slow your pit stop is going to be. Wilson Hughes, really, he's going to have to push for these next 7 laps if he wants to try and get the win away from Matthias Van Erven. Van Erven has been saving that battery all the way through this race, and now is going to let loose, and look how much he's gaining from the straights. Wilson Hughes 5/10 back on Van Erven with time and Shooter in P3, 2.8 back with Lucas Blakely hunting to try and seal the deal in P4 at the moment. He's got Jake Benham just behind him again with a 5-second penalty. Lucas Blakely with a 3-second penalty as well. If you can try and get Armin Shooter and just trying to break away from that 3-second gap, he's definitely got a good chance of a podium if he can. Here comes Wilson Hughes round in the final corner, trying to battle with Van Erven. Does he get a good exit? No, he doesn't. Not compared to Van Erven. And Van Erven is getting away, and the fastest lap goes to him, 29.774. Van Erven is on fire these past 2 laps in the soft compound tyres. He's not waiting around anymore, and Van Erven might be in prime position to try and win this Grand Prix.
Yeah, trying to break away, I think, on that lap. Trying to build that 1-second gap to make sure Wilson was outside of his DRS is always going to be difficult on the circuit with as many DRS zones as Bahrain. So he wasn't able to do that. They're both, well, I say that, Van Erven's only got 84% battery. He's done that lap time and barely burnt through his ERS. He's absolutely flying at the moment. This could be very difficult for Wilson Hughes. He's led for pretty much the entirety of this race. It's only after the pit stops that he's being headed. And that is the important point, of course. 6.5 laps to go. Van Erven, Hughes, Shooter, your top 3. We're seeing a few more penalties starting to come through now. It is 3 seconds for Pratchett, McBride and Blakely. 5 for Benham. 6 for Floris Reyes. He had that spin. And I think, to be honest, Floris says one of his weaknesses has been once he starts picking up penalties, they do tend to snowball, and he really needs to cut that out. But it was a promising performance from him until that happened, as De Zaleski, he's using the best use of his soft tyres as well. The Frenchman now up in towards for 12th place. McBride and West for 2 Red Bulls will be the next target for the AlphaTauri.
Yeah, definitely so. It's going to be very, very tough now for Antoine De Zaleski and Tommy Peratic just to try and catch up to McBride. Maybe as time and Shooter replaces Lucas Blakely with the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, 28.944 for Blakely. Blakely, as we have been saying, has been absolutely flying all the way through. There goes Moreno on Andre Tarabukin on the soft compound tyres. There goes Donoso on Pedreño. Pedreño looking for a switchback if he can. He does not have the DRS. Donoso did get the job done just before the DRS line. Very, very late braking, which is why we saw them go very, very wide. And Donoso up into P6 replaces Pedreño into P7. Now Moreno is trying to get tasty into this battle in P8 with Andre Tarabukin waiting in the wings in P9. Jack West closing up to his teammate and McBride. I just wonder if the Red Bulls just start to work with each other just to make sure they catch up with Tarabukin and Moreno, just if that works out. But Matthias Van Erven almost breaking 7/10 now on Wilson Hughes, and looking at his battery, 70% so far, so he's really been burning this lap. But Wilson Hughes down to 50, and I just wonder if he's going to wait until the last grasp just to try and push all the way through on the Haas driver to just try and get this race win. Lucas Blakely just behind. There's to the start. Getting into this battle, 1.3 is the gap between Shooter and Hughes. Lucas Blakely between Shooter, 0.2, sorry, between the two. And I wonder if Blakely might have a chance on Shooter this lap. DRS wide open with the McLaren driver. Shooter is flashing to the right-hand side. Goes to Bomber Blakely on the Dutch driver. Lucas Blakely versus Shooter. Blakely up onto the podium. A beautiful move there from Lucas Blakely. Easy as you like, cool, calm and collected. Lucas Blakely up into P3, but with that penalty, it's going to haunt him in a couple of laps' time. He needs to break away those 3 seconds from Shooter to get onto the podium.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be tough to do. If he can get onto the back of Wilson Hughes, that might help him. And who knows, we might see Blakely, even though he is going to have that penalty, we might see him go for that race victory on track. And he wouldn't mind that too much, given the fact, and I think I've said it a few times, he started in last place. He's gained 17 positions at the moment. Donoso and Moreno, I mean, they've gained 12 each, so they've not exactly had too much of a shabby race, and they're dragging each other along, as well as Pedreño. And oh! Moreno's gone way too deep at turn number 10, all the way off the circuit. Pedreño gets an easy as you like pass in towards 7th place, and Sam McBride had some trouble at that corner as well. He's gone off almost into the tyre barriers.
Yeah, I'm not sure what has happened to Sam McBride unless he's got beached onto the curves and he's actually left in frustration. So Sam McBride out of this Grand Prix. Another one on the sidelines to partner Louis Welsh. Unfortunate to see there. Thankfully, no safety car for the likes of these guys who definitely probably don't need it right now. Here comes Wilson Hughes, nevertheless, trying to close up on Van Erven. Thomas Ronha making moves on Paradzic in the background. Moreno making moves on Pedreño. That small mistake may have cost him, but he's back hunting down and getting past Tarabukin for P7. And now he's going to try and hunt down Donoso. Desaluski getting past his old friend Jack West. And Paradzic going for the move on Ronha. Ronha with a switchback move that's battling everywhere. You look at these final 3 laps. Ronha pushing Paradzic up the rear. Here they come now. Ronha really pushing on Paradzic. Not gonna happen as West once again trying to push on Desaluski as well. There's battling everywhere you look. It's impossible to look at which battle you're looking for, but Desaluski is the winner between himself and Jack West. Paradzic is the battle winner between himself and Ronha, and it's all gonna come down to the final 3 laps. Van Erven versus Hughes versus Blakely versus Shooter in this battle for the lead, and it's going to come down for the final 3.
Yes, and imagine what the race is going to be like tomorrow, round 1 of season 31, when this actually counts for championship points. This is just a bit of fun for these guys at the moment. They make it sound like they're not taking it seriously. Trust me, they want to win tonight. They want to get that little bit of a psychological advantage ahead of the start of the season, and Blakely is frustratingly close to that 1 second margin. He wasn't quite there out of the detection point, and you'll just see the time start to ebb away as Hughes pulls out down the straight. Shooter not close enough either to catch up to that, as Moreno, that mistake earlier doesn't seem to have cost him whatsoever. He's got ahead of Donoso. I think Paradzic has had a bit of a moment out of the final corner. The Challengers driver, he's off towards the pit lane, and I think that could be the last we see of him in this race. Back towards the front though, Hughes still not able to get close enough. It's so frustrating for Blakely. He's definitely quicker, I think, than the front two at this moment in time. The DRS is just allowing Wilson to pull away out of that all-crucial 1 second point. It must be so frustrating. He's back within it again now. This could be exactly what he needs. 2 laps to go. We've got a 4-car train at the front all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be very tight in these final 2 laps. Squeaky bum time for Lucas Blakely and Wilson Hughes, and again for Timon Shooter, who just needs to try and catch up to Blakely. That's going to be a very tough challenge for the Haas man, but Matthias Van Erven just needs to stay calm, cool and collected, and he can definitely win this race. He's got a challenging Wilson Hughes right behind him. 25% ERS is Hughes compared to Van Erven's 44, compared to Blakely's 8%. Lucas Blakely using a lot on the early stages is now going to cost him late race. Here they come then on the DRS straight to start the penultimate lap of the race. Van Erven leads with Hughes in second place, with Blakely in P3. Now in the DRS of his teammate of Wilson Hughes through and towards the right-hander of turn 1. Hughes and Van Erven stay put alongside Blakely, trying to cause a little bit of trouble in the background, with Wilson Hughes really plugging away on Van Erven, and he really is going to have to put the pedal down as hard as he can for these next lap and a half if he wants to try and win this race.
Yeah, he is. It's going to be a tough one at the moment. You can see there, Hughes has got 27%. Van Erven has got about 20% more. So whatever he loses out because he doesn't get the speed boost from that drag reduction system, from the rear wing opening, he's going to gain from that extra horsepower from the hybrid system, just being able to deploy it out of the corners for a bit longer. And he's a smart driver. He'll know. It doesn't really need to bother about deploying it at points like this. It's out of the final corner, out of turn number 3. He gets it right there. I think it's going to be tough for Wilson to win this race.
Absolutely so. Lucas Blakely all over the back of Hughes, and I just wonder if there's a few team organisations just maybe thinking, maybe a few team orders at McLaren to maybe let maybe let Hughes by and Lucas Blakely to charge on. But as we enter the final lap, Hughes really plugging away on Van Erven. This is the closest he's been out of the back straight. Lucas Blakely maybe waiting in the wings as well. Van Erven defending very aggressively to the wall as we start the final lap of the Grand Prix. Van Erven is really plugging away. Wilson Hughes having a look down the inside. Blakely has lost a lot of time as Hughes now really plugging away on Van Erven, and this is crucial for the final lap. Can Van Erven hold on, or will Hughes or Lucas Brakely hold on?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. He just wasn't able to close up enough there. That extra ERS proving to be crucial as they come through the Sector 1 point for the final time in the race. Duncan Hoffland's had a spin further back. That's dropped him down towards 15th place behind Ash Best for two VSR drivers. Not really having the race that they would have wanted. Another one, Andrei Tamabukin. I think he'd have been hoping for better than 9th place after the qualifying session as well. And Wilson has one more slight chance. Can he get a better run? Out of turn number 10, he was almost pushing the Haas car there. But you're always a tenth of a second later on the throttle. And that gap agonisingly stretches out for the Scotsman. He's got another Scotsman right behind him in Lucas Blakely. And I think Wilson knows if he makes a slight mistake, Lucas will be all over the back of him. Just 2 corners to go at the end of this one. Van Erven in the lead, Hughes in second place. Van Erven trying to do all that he can to just break the toe at this moment in time. And I think he might have just done enough here at Bahrain in the final Invitational before the season starts tomorrow. Van Erven is victorious in Bahrain. And oh, Van Erven's dropped down to 4th place at the end. Did he get a penalty? Right on the line. What on earth has happened there?
I'm not sure about that one. Just checking a look on the race director. That might be a timing issue, but no penalties there for Matthias Van Erven. Apparently showing that he's now down the back of the field. I think that might be a little bit of Cody's magic once again, as Matthias Van Erven definitely won that race. Wilson Hughes is second. Time Shooter did enough for P3. Lucas Brakely did not get the gap that he wanted, so it's a double Haas podium there. Brilliant stuff from Haas to start the season going into tomorrow. But Lucas Blakely is the driver of the day, no doubt about that. He's had an absolutely fantastic race, last to P4, but definitely that race win goes to Matthias Van Erven there, and that might be a little bit of Cody's magic there, but Matthias Van Erven is definitely the winner of that one. But what a race at Bahrain, and what a season opener we may have in store tomorrow.
Yes, well, we can confirm it was Matthias Van Erven that one. Wilson Hughes might be celebrating the victory at the moment. I don't think I'll be too disappointed with second place there. Time and Shooter getting what will be, obviously, second after all of that. But, will be 3rd place, sorry, and I believe Lucas Blakely will be in 4th place. As we take a look at the results, then it was Matthias Van Erven who took the victory. Wilson Hughes in 2nd place. The pit stops proving to be crucial. Once Van Erven got ahead, it was fantastic. He was unable to be caught. He had supreme pace. Time and Shooter dropped back a bit, just stayed in penalty range now to secure 3rd. Blakely, Moreno, Donoso, Benham, Pedreno, Tamabukin and West were the rest of the top 10. Dezaluski just missing out. Ronhar, Baena, Floris Reyes, Ash Best, Duncan Hoffland, Harvey Cowan. Van Erven did finish in the lead, not in 17th. We saw Sam McBride have that issue towards the end, and Pradjic and Louis Welsh both retiring in the pit lane in what, gotta say, Josh, was a fascinating race all the way through. Just brilliant patience from Matthias Van Erven. He chose his moment, he waited right to the end, and that proved to be the best thing to do.
Absolutely, that final stint on the soft compound tyres definitely was how he won that one. Brilliant drive from Van Erven there. Wilson Hughes really plugged away very, very hard, but just not could go good enough there on Van Erven. But what a drive from all of those guys again, and Lucas Blakely definitely the standout performance there, last on the grid to P4. What a drive from that man once again. Danny Moreno as well doing well in P5 again, with Donoso in P6, but absolutely fantastic piece of driving there. Really happy that we got the opportunity to commentate over such a great race, but it does go the way of Matthias Van Erven going into the start of the season tomorrow. And could we see a similar face on the top step tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, and thankfully we'll be able to hear what the drivers thought of that race as well. They are all in the waiting room ready for the interview, so let's start bringing them in, and we'll start with a man who did win the race, despite the fact that the game suggested that he finished in 17th in the end. It is Matthias Van Erven. Brilliant job from yourself, Matthias. Just supreme pace on the soft tyres at the end, and Wilson couldn't catch you.
Yeah, thank you, first of all. Yeah, I think on the mediums we were quite equal, like you said. I could just stay in this DRS. And yeah, softs I was a bit quicker, I think, and yeah, I managed to hold them off and have a nice win. first of the game.
Had you done some practice? Well, imagine you'd done plenty of practice with the strategies, but were you certain from the start that medium soft was going to be the way to go?
Yeah, because I think me and Wilson saved quite like the tires in the first stint, so we could overcut the hards. Yeah, we were quicker than them when they pitted. We knew that. So yeah, that was the strategy from the beginning.
Yeah, certainly worked out well for yourself. That must give you great confidence ahead of tomorrow's race as well. Obviously, things will be quite different. We have got the full qualifying. What do you prefer? Do you prefer the short qualifying or do you prefer the full one that we usually only see in the top tiers?
Well, I like the full qualifying too, so it gives a bit more of like chances. If you mess up Q1, for example, you like P13, you can still be good in Q2 and Q3. Yeah, so I like the full quali more. It's a bit more entertaining, I think, as well.
Yeah, it definitely does lead to some interesting strategies. We'll let you head off, Matthias. Congratulations on what was a very hard-fought victory.
Yeah, thank you, man.
And we're now going to bring in the man who the game was determined to give the win to at the end of the race, but in the end, second will have to do. It is Wilson Hughes. Josh, we'll let you take this one.
Wilson, that was an absolutely fantastic P2 from you there. Just fell away at the end there, but what a drive between yourself and Matthias.
Yeah, it was a great drive. Really enjoyed it. Obviously, first race of F122, and yeah, it was really enjoyable. The last stint there in the sauce, I didn't really have much pace. I don't really know what was going on. I just couldn't really seem to find the confidence, whereas Matthias could. First stint was really good. Pace overall was good. There's something happened in the pit lane with my button that I binded to turn into the pit box. It went wrong, so that's why I lost the lead. But apart from that, we learnt a lot, and it was a fun and enjoyable race.
Absolutely. Well, obviously going into tomorrow looking pretty decent. That P2, do you think you can try and follow up for tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, the pace and quality definitely looked very good in that race. The race pace in the sauce, as I said, was a little bit off, so maybe I can work on that a little bit tomorrow before the race. But yeah, definitely feeling confident. Hopefully, we can translate some sort of podium or top 5, maybe even top 6 tomorrow, as it's a much stronger grid. But yeah, as you said, I'm 100% looking forward to tomorrow.
Absolutely. And just quickly on F1 Esports, obviously the season coming up soon. You confident that you might be able to get a little bit of racing in there?
F1 Esports, not too sure. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, that's all behind closed doors, so we'll have to wait in the announcements. Obviously, it's a bit messy, the grid right now, so that's one for Twitter to wait.
Absolutely. Well, massive congratulations on your P2 there, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Cheers, thank you.
Yeah, thanks to Wilson for joining us. We're now going to bring in, well, I think you can kind of see the way this is going. We're going to bring in the man who just took P3 then at the end of that race. A great performance from the second half of Time and Shooter. You seem to have incredible pace in the DRS train towards the end of that first stint, Timon.
Yeah, the pace was decent. We already knew before the start of the race that soft medium would be better. And when we saw everyone pitting, we were like, what is going on? But when we pitted on the soft, the pace was actually decent. I couldn't stay in DRS because some people in front of me dropped out to the hards. But nevertheless, it was a good race. And yeah.
Yeah, tell us towards the end of that second stint, because you were doing quite well. You and Lucas looked to be closing up towards the top 2, but you just dropped off towards the end. Was that a tyre wear issue, or was there a mistake from yourself?
No, I think it was mainly related to tire wear, I think. Because I don't know, for me, it didn't feel slow or something. Just the tires went off the last couple of laps.
Yeah, still a great performance for yourself. You are, correct me if I'm wrong, you are a reserve for this season. Are there any tracks in particular on the calendar that you're really hoping you get a chance to take part in?
No, I think my home track, Zandvoort, would be good. I think that's a good track, and it's my home track, so I hope I can race that one.
Yeah, I think everyone likes to race their home track. Well, congratulations, Timon, on your third place.
Thank you.
And I think seeing as he's been in the waiting room and seeing as the game wanted to give him a podium, we might as well take advantage and drag him in towards the chat. It is esports legend Lucas Blakely. Josh, we'll let you take this one.
Lucas, that was absolutely incredibly close to a podium there. Obviously, last to P4. That was an absolutely fantastic drive from you.
I thought it was P3, but it doesn't matter. It's all good. But yeah, that was good fun. I enjoyed that one. I'm just annoyed. I get held in the. My car stopped in the pit lane for timing. I don't know why. I get stopped in the pit lane. I don't know why it didn't like go through because I was ahead of timing going in, and then it held me, which cost a bit of time, unfortunately. I would have liked a bit of a better go or more laps towards the end on the guys ahead because I was pushing. I wanted to do another last to first. I was trying. I could smell it. I could see it. But no, great fun. Yeah, there's worse ways to begin on F1 22. Looking forward to tomorrow as well. I've got a few issues I still need to iron out with my, both with, the setup and the game and just like small things here and there because of a few issues I've got with my rig. But otherwise, it was great fun. I enjoyed that.
Absolutely. Well, going into tomorrow, obviously, you're hoping maybe you can try and mount a championship challenge with Jarno?
Well, I mean, that's always the goal. I mean, I don't go racing with the objective to, not give it my all, or when I'm fighting in a championship like PSGL, the goal is always to try and win. I don't have any other objective. So, yeah, today was the fun shakedown. Tomorrow is when the business really begins. So I'm looking forward to, brushing up from the things that could have went better today, and then give it everything tomorrow. I know where these areas are, so yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. But it was good fun today. I mean, if tomorrow is anything like today, then it's going to be just massive amounts of fun. And yeah, I enjoyed that. I've got a smile on my face, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Well, that's the most important thing. Obviously, moving on to F1 Esports recently signed for Veloce. Are you confident about the season going ahead?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, should be good fun. I'm massively privileged to be a part of Veloce. I'm just excited majorly for the future as it is. So I think as the future develops, everything's gonna fall into place very nicely. So I'm massively happy where I am and can't wait to get stuck in. I'm really happy right now. So yeah.
Massive congratulations today and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much, man. Ciao, ciao.
Yeah, thanks to Lucas for joining us there. I think probably a bit surprised with obviously the penalty situation at the end. Matthias getting some strange penalty, and cheers to Matthias, Wilson, and also to Matthias, Wilson, and Timon for joining us as well. That's pretty much it then for this stream, but let's take a bit of a look. We've spoken plenty about it. It is, of course, the first round of PC F1 tomorrow. There is the calendar out on the screen, starting at Bahrain, ending at the traditional PSGL finale point of Brazil. Only a 10-race season. You've really got to hit the ground running early on.
Absolutely, with a very, very short season, probably one of the shortest in PSGL history, obviously with a few clashes with F1 Esports and obviously with the World Cup in December, November as well. Just maybe a shortened season is just to freshen up things. So yeah, it's really going to have to hit the ground running. You have to get a very, very good start early on to the season. Otherwise, it's almost near on impossible just to try and pick up a few points later on. But it's definitely going to be interesting how this all plays out. And obviously really, really excited for the season. Really excited to watch it from a fan's point of view. Obviously, it's going to be very, very fun with George Morgan and Jack Canan back on the microphone. And maybe a new champion might be running. Maybe Jarno Opmeer might have a few run for his money. But we'll have to wait and see. It's definitely going to be one of the best seasons in PSGL history, one of the best grids in league racing history. And it should be an absolutely fantastic affair tomorrow.
Yeah, I think certainly after what we saw tonight, and we even saw in the chat afterwards, a few drivers were surprised at just how easy the medium-soft strategy turned out to be. I think Pedreño especially was expecting medium-hard to be the way to go. A lot more will be doing that tomorrow, so it might be interesting to see how that changes the mood going into the first part of the race, because you're going to have to be a bit more gentle on those mediums.
Yeah, definitely so. I think we saw that a lot. I think there was a few, maybe the tyre savings again from Wilson and again from Matthias. A lot of these guys really going for the long distances. Lucas as well did these long stints on those medium compound tyres, lasting around 20 laps to go onto the softs for about 9-10 lap distance. So it's definitely going to be interesting how that all plays out. I was definitely thinking maybe the softs, mediums, medium, and obviously a few people starting on the mediums, medium to hard, and then hard to mediums as well. So it's definitely a lot of interesting strategies you can go for. So I think it's going to be very, very interesting how the strategy plays out this game. There's so many combinations you can definitely go for, but it's definitely going to be very, very interesting how it plays out tomorrow, and to see what everyone goes for and to see who will come out victorious.
Yes, it will be. And I've seen a few of you drivers, well, potential drivers, saying, do I need a wheel to do all this? You can join at any level here in PSGL, especially on the PlayStation platform. For the PC tiers below Tier 1, some of the tiers are no assist, but all of them are no traction control, no ABS, and no automatic gears on the PC. And if you are interested, as we mentioned earlier, sign-ups are still open now. 27th of June, they opened. Evaluations are there. You've got until 13th to sign up. You've got until 14th to complete the evaluations. And then for the lower tiers here in PSGL, the racing is going to start not long after that. It's going to start at Austria on the 21st of July. And that'll be for the lower PC tiers. 25th of July, we'll see PlayStation F1 with Jess Ball and James Head for the first time. Slightly longer calendar there, slightly different tracks. Looking at that, Josh, any races in particular that would stand out to you?
Oh, definitely thinking probably Brazil, definitely a very, very good one as well. Silverstone can definitely be a very interesting one as well. Just looking at the calendar now, if I can just get it up on screen there. Yeah, Silverstone is probably going to be an interesting one on the regular season as well. Moving on to PCF1 Brazil, definitely an interesting one. It's obviously Abu Dhabi with the new layout of that one, and again with Miami, it's definitely going to be interesting how that plays out. So as always, a load of interesting tracks that come out in PSGL, and they're all going to be absolutely fantastic races. There's never a dull moment in PSGL in any tier, and it's going to be probably one of the seasons to remember.
Yeah, I think it certainly will be. There's only one place to be. Certainly tomorrow night, 7 PM, George Morgan and Jack Canan taking you through the action as PSGL PC F1 gets itself underway for the first of 10 rounds here in Season 31. Will Matthias be able to repeat his heroics tonight? Will someone who's not here, will we see someone like Jarno Otmaier or Barry Bowerman take the victory? We'll have to wait to see to find out here on PSGL. Thanks so much for everyone who joined us. Thanks to Matthias, Wilson, Simon and Lucas for joining us for the interviews. Thanks to Josh for joining us for the commentary. Thanks so much everyone for watching. Make sure to check out our sponsors as well down below, Grid Rival and GT Omega, who did give some of us a really nice chair, which is very much appreciated. And we'll see you all in the future tomorrow, 7 PM. Season 31 gets underway. Take care of yourselves and goodbye.